Hey everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and this is the release and review for the May 2024 release. Hey everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it is time for the May 2024 release and review. So I'm going to go over all the products in the release and, let you see what everything is and see if it's something that you're going to want to add to your crafting repertoire. I think you will because it's amazing. So first I'm going to start out with some stamps. So we have the Mermaid to Be Friends stamp set, along with the Mermaid to Be Friends outline dies. Optional, but I think you're going to want them. This is an A2 size card base. And this is what the Little Mermaid looks like stamped and cut out. Isn't she sweet? She takes up a lot of the front of an A2 size card front. And, vertically, this is horizontally, so you can see the sizing. So cute. She may look like a familiar looking mermaid, depending on what colors you make her. Okay, and then we have some sentiments. So we've got let's party our tails off, sending positive mermaid vibes, wishing you a splashy and sassy birthday. I think we mermaid to be friends. You mermaid to be awesome. You're fantastic. You are mermazing. And birthday greetings from under the sea. So a super cute little set. I think you're going to want that set. I think it's adorable. And like I said, Mermaid to Be Friends stamp set and the Mermaid to Be Friends outline dies. Next we have the Make a Splash Gnomie stamp set. And then you can get the Make a Splash Gnomie outline dies if you'd like. I do have them stamped and cut out for you. So here we go. Oops. And I'll grab an A2 size card front. There we go, so you can have a look. So we've got swimming by to say thanks, Gnome. Wishing you a magical birthday. I miss the shell out of you. Have a mermazing birthday. Happy birthday to an enchanting creature. Shell ya. Let's celebrate your birthday. I shall always love you. We'll just move those off. Make a Splash Gnomie. I'd cross the whole ocean for you. Hope your birthday is fantastic. And swimming with my gnomies. And lastly, there is a face stamp that looks like that. And I will show you what that looks like in a little bit on something else from this release. So you've got the little face stamp on this set. So remember, that is the Make a Splash Gnomie stamp set and the Make a Splash Gnomie outline dies. Next, we have the brand new stamps or die set called Gnome Dies Mermaid Add Ons. It is so cute. You're going to want probably the Girl Gnome dies, maybe the Gnome Dies Extra Add Ons 1 and 2, for extra parts while you're making things. But, so there's the Gnome Dies Mermaid Add-ons. Remember, there is an assembly video for this, so check that out. Although I find it rather simple, but if you have any questions, you can always head on over to the assembly video and watch me putting them together. In the meantime, we have an A2 size card front here, and then I will go ahead and show you the adorable things. So first we have the cutest little mermaid ever. How cute is she? She's got a funky little tail. She's got her little shell bikini top and a really adorable headband for her hat. And look at this waving hair for the water. And there she is on an A2 size card front that is vertical. And then we've got horizontal. So she will fit on a horizontal if that's what you want to go for. Or you could make a larger card. I always kind of stick to the A2. But, just so you know, there it is vertically. Okay, next we have a cute little seahorse that she can be holding. How cute is that? Or you could just cut it out separately and have a seahorse, swimming around. Next, we've got a little conch shell that she can be holding, right? Or, one to decorate with, right? We've got a super cute piece of coral that she can be holding, right? You could obviously cut it separately to decorate with. We have a little adorable mermaid And look at the little face, it's cut out, right? And she could be swimming around with the big mermaid. Next we have a little shell with a starfish and a clam shell that she can be holding. It's a little grouping. You could also use that to decorate with, right? We've got the shell by itself that you can decorate with. Excuse the ink on my fingers. I was getting inky. I'll show you that in a bit. There is the little shell by itself. We've got a little fork that she can be holding because of course you want a fork, right? Especially if she was a redhead, right? We have an adorable, let's move these all out of the way. We have an adorable sort of grouping of seaweed and coral that she can be holding. And look at that. There it is, right? How cute is that for a card? And you could do a few of them on the bottom. You could do it this way where she's kind of, you know, floating along with that amazing seaweed and everything there. Not lastly, but almost lastly. So here she is holding that same doll. So you could have her face plain. So instead of the little eyes being cut out, right? That, you know, there's a face that you can do the eyes cut out, or there's a plain face. And then you could use that stamp from that adorable stamp set that I was showing you called Make a Splash Gnomie. That's the little face right there. It fits perfectly on the mermaid, right? And you could have her, you know, with the face, you know, swimming alone, or you could have her holding this adorable little mermaid. Now, now we also have lastly some bubbles, because you need some bubbles for your background, right? And how fun is that? You can sort of decorate with some bubbles coming up from the bottom of the ocean, right? And there we go. So this is the adorable set called Gnome Dies Mermaid Add Ons. Remember, there's an assembly video, so check that out if there's any problems. And, you know, to make this work, you're going to want to have the girl gnome dies at least in your repertoire so you can sort of put that together. Next, we have the adorable die set called Fancy Shell Die. And there is an assembly video for this. It's pretty obvious, but I did make one just in case. It's always good to see it in action. Okay, so first I have my little A2 size card front. And here is my shell all put together with my little pearl. And isn't that sweet? It'd be cute by itself with some of those, you know, sentiments like let's celebrate, right? But how cute is that? Adorable. And, you know, you can use this little tiny mermaid with it, which would be kind of fun, right? Or, you know, you could squeeze it in on a card with the big mermaid, because why not, right? How fun is that? Or you could make it separately. And I made it into a little card. I skipped the little pearl and the outside part of the shell, right? And then you can make a little card base like that, and you can add your little mermaid to it. It'll be a cute little tag, right? Or you could easily use it as a background on your card with your mermaid, right? You've got a cute little shell that you've got on her background, or you could just use the outline, which would be fun. You know, you get the idea. It's a super cute little set, and I think it'd be great like for, you know, for card making or for scrapbooking. I just think it's super cute stuff. And like I said, there's an assembly video, so check that out if you're stuck. We have something called Embellishment Cluster Dies. Now, this is kind of a handy set. So you can cut your own, like, you know, whatever colors you want in sequins or stars, and they all are in 3 different sizes, which I like, because I like to have 3 sizes when I'm decorating. But there we go. And I did cut some out for you just for fun. And here they are. You could use these as shaker bits if you want. But like, how fun is that? Let me just get my little embellishment wand there. So you could use these as little decorative, you know, objects on your cards. And like I said, there are 3 sizes, right? There's the 3rd size. And isn't that fun? Super pretty. I cut mine out of glitter cardstock. So there's the little diamond ones, or whatever you want to call them. Then we have some, we have some adorable little sequins that we can decorate with. So we've got the 3 sizes, right? 1, 2, 3, and we can do 4, 5, right? So we've got the 3 different sizes. And you, like I said, I cut these out of shimmer cardstock. They look like little bubbles too. Super fun. And you know, handy, right? You can keep your embellishments more on the flat side, which is also fun. Next, I have my favorite. I love to use hearts to embellish. So look at that. There are 3 different sizes. They do have the stitching on the largest 2, but the smallest one does not have the stitching. Obviously, it's too small for stitching. But look how fun that is, right? And I use hearts to decorate all the time. How fun is that? And these would be great in shakers too, right? You could cut out a bunch at once because there's so many, right? So I just think that's super cute. So you could do, like I said, the hearts. And these were cut out of like a white shimmer cardstock. Lastly, we have some stars, which are lots of fun. These were cut out of Basil Bling, and there are 3 different sizes of them, right? So we've got the smallest, we've got the largest to the smallest. There we go. And then we've got we've got a couple more down there. Isn't that fun? They do have some stitching details, as you can see, except for the smallest one, but that's par for the course. And that is the embellishment cluster dies. There you go. Just, I think, pretty handy, right? So I can't wait to start using those. I think those will be kind of a staple. Okay, and lastly, we're going to go over some stencils. So we have the bubble stencil, which is lots of fun. And I went ahead and I used Hero Arts Unicorn ink and some pattern paper and pounced it on. So it's very, I don't know, it's you know, it's not super obvious. You know, you could certainly use embossing paste that would probably show up if you use the pure white. But so there we go. That's what it looks like on pattern paper. And you can watch me do these at the end of the video. I'll have me ink blending or working on the different stencils. So there are the bubbles. Okay. Now there is also, I used deco foil and did the bubbles with white foil. There we go. Those are a lot more obvious, right? But there we go. That's what that looks like. But like I said, you can watch me do that at the end of the video. Now, next we have our Seaweed Stencil. And what I did was I ink blended it. At the end of the video, you can watch me. I used Distress Oxide ink and Tumbled Glass for the background. And then I used Twisted Citron, Mowed Lawn, and Rustic Wilderness with some pouncers. So isn't that fun? I think that'd be a great background for our little mermaid, right? Isn't that sweet? Okay, and lastly, we have the freebie for this release. And this is free with a $50 purchase. You have to have at least 1 product in your cart from this release while supplies last, not including shipping and taxes, and you know all the rules, but check them out over on the Jaded Blossom blog. So this will be added to your cart, you know. And this is the ink blended one that I did. And I used, you know, pattern paper from Doodlebug in the background. And then I used Prized Ribbon, Picked Raspberry, and Villainous Potion in Distress Oxide ink with some sponge daubers. And isn't that a great background? I just think that would make a great card. So basically, everyone, that is the release in a nutshell. You can stay tuned and watch me ink blend these stencils if you'd like. Otherwise, you might want to go and get shopping and get your hands on this amazing release because I think it is fabulous. So thank you and stay tuned. Hey everybody, so this is our Seaweed Stencil. I'm just going to trim off the top and pull it out. It's just a 1-layer stencil. There we go. And I'm going to use some paper tray ink white cardstock with some, what's it called? Deco foil transfer gel. So I'm just taping it to the front of it. Probably could have used my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station, but at this point I kind of forgot about it for a minute there, and I thought I'm just going to go ahead and use this deco foil. So the idea is that you just sort of spread it on and, let it dry. It takes about an hour to dry, depending on how thick it is. You're going to want to wash your stencil and your tools right away and put it off to the side and let it dry. So that's what I do. And it goes from being this kind of milky consistency to clear, and it stays kind of tacky. So there we go. I'm just going to peel that off, and there, I'm going to put that off to the side. Next, we're going to work with the Mermaid Stencil, Mermaid Silhouette Stencil. This is the freebie with $50 purchase. Check out all the rules. I mentioned it earlier in the video. And I'm using a piece of paper from Doodlebug's Seaside Summer. There we go. And I'm going to use the same Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo, but I'm using my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station this time. This one took a long time to dry. I sort of put it off to the side and let it dry. It took, it probably took more like 2 hours. I didn't like it with the transfer gel as much as I did when I ink blended a little later, so you can check that out. But I'm just trying to, smooth this out as much as I can. It doesn't have to be that smooth, it's fine, but, that's what I was going for. I'm just going to use this kind of stencil buddy thing just to get it flat. Oops. There we go. And then I will pull it off and set it off to the side to dry. Like I said, it does take, a while. This one did take about 2 hours. So there we go. Next, I'm going to do the same thing to our brand new bubble stencil. I'm going to cut the top off, and I will add that same Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo. So the idea is I'm going to be doing some foiling. Now this paper is from Doodlebug's, I think it's called Anchors Away. It's just some, it looks like water. So I'm just going to, cover the stencil in this deco foil and let it dry. This one dried pretty quickly. And then I will pull it off, put that stencil in the, in the water. You're going to want to seal up that container really well so it doesn't dry out. And like I said, wash all your stuff right away because this stuff is sticky. So there are the bubbles. Okay, so next now, this is what I'm going to do with my ink blending. So I'm going to do my Seaweed Stencil. And I've just got a piece of paper tray ink cardstock, and I'm using tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink, just with a big blender brush. And I'm just going to ink blend just kind of lightly all over to give kind of a, a watery effect, I guess you want to say. There we go, that's tumbled glass. And then next I'm going to put my stencil down onto this Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. And I'm going to use these paper pouncers. And I'm using Distress Oxide ink in Twisted Citron. Hopefully I don't shake that camera too much. And I'm just going to kind of pounce it all over. The nice thing about Distress Oxide ink, it's a pigment, so it sits on top of the cardstock. And it works on, colored cardstock or pattern paper as well. So that's kind of nice. Dye ink will just kind of sink in, whereas pigment ink sits on top. So next I've got my Mowed Lawn. And I'm going to kind of, ink blend. Well, I'm not really ink blending. I'm just kind of pouncing the color, right? The nice thing about these pouncers is that it won't pull on the stencil. Like an ink blender or a blending brush will sometimes, especially if it's a little bit, if it's got some open, flimsier areas. So it's kind of a handy tool. Now I just used Rustic Wilderness there. And I'm going to pull out my Twisted Citron one more time. And I'm just going to add a little bit more. And then there, Bob's your uncle. You've got an ink blended background. So isn't that fun? Next, I'm going to do the same thing with the bubbles. I'm just working on that pattern paper again. This one, I believe, is from Doodlebug's Seaside Summer. And I'm using Hero Arts Unicorn ink. And I'm really pouncing it. I'm trying to apply as much as I can through those little spots. I find this was very subtle. It was like a subtle background. And I do something in the end to kind of amp it up. But this is a really subtle look. It's more obvious with the transfer gel and like the white deco foil. That shows up a lot better, but you know, I don't know. I find the bubbles a little bit thicker when you use the transfer gel. So, you know, it's not as exact, I guess you'd want to say. So I do prefer the look of the ink for this one. But like I said, it just kind of blended into the background. Maybe if I'd have used like just a plain embossing paste. I'll have to try that maybe. But I thought I'd leave this in. So I just worked all on this stencil. And then I will pull off your background. And right now it's a little bit more obvious because it's wet. But when it dries back a little bit. Okay, next here I'm working on, this is that beachside summer, or no, seaside summer, but it's the 12-inch paper pad from Doodlebug. And I'm going to use this Mermaid Silhouette stencil, which is the freebie with purchase. Remember, $50, yada, yada, yada. I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And I'm using the paper pouncers again. This time I'm using Picked Raspberry, Villainous Potion, and what's the last one? Prize Ribbon. So I'm just going to, you know, add this Distress Oxide ink to my background. Trying to get as solid of an image as I can because these are little mermaid silhouettes and you kind of want them to be, you know, pretty obvious, I guess you'd want to say. You know, since it's like just not like an all over texture that it doesn't matter. This, I think it kind of matters that you get it, you know, looking like you've got a sharp silhouette. So now I'm adding my Villainous Potion Distress Oxide ink with an ink dauber again. And I don't know, I think this one turned out really well. I quite liked it. And now I'm using Prize Ribbon Distress Oxide ink. And I'm just going to daub my background. This is how I got inky fingers when I was doing my release and review at the beginning there. So you kind of get a lot of ink on your fingers when you're doing this kind of stuff. There we go. And I'm just going to go back into the purple again. And then I'll go back into the pink again as well, I believe. You know, just trying to, you know, make it look nice and brightly colored on that pattern paper background. I don't know. I just think this one was my favorite, I think. And isn't that fabulous? I think it turned out wonderful. Isn't that fun? Okay, so this is the deco foil. I used that white deco foil. It's called Snow Day. This one I used deco foil. It's actually We Are Memory Keepers, the peacock set. And I used the green. And I also used this peacock color on the mermaid silhouettes. And I'm just using my cheapo laminating machine and running it through with a feeder sheet. And like I said, this just wasn't my favorite. I didn't like the look of it as much, but I wanted to keep it, like, show you. Keep it in the video. There we go. I'm just going to put that off to the side to, you know, cool off. There is that deco foil that with the green one that I used, and I just ink blended on top of it, you know, for the seaweed. Now this is removing the other foil. And there we go. I'm just not as much of a fan of that, but I really like the ink blended one better. Now, here is how I amped up this bubble stencil. I decided to add some glossy accents to, you know, not every bubble, but every odd bubble I added some, you know, glossy accents to, just to make them shine and stand out a little bit. Of course, you're going to have to put this off to the side to dry for quite a while. I did not coat every single bubble in glossy accents. I think it looks better if you just, you know, coat, like leave some as ink and some as, you know, glossy accents. So I'm just going to add that in. And then I will put that off to the side to dry. But I quite like the look of that. I thought that turned out quite well. So thank you, everybody, and get shopping.